An outstanding rookie season. This year's been good as well, but that was about as impressive as any play he's made.
We go to overtime after a field goal by the Ravens, and Derrick Henry's like, yo, let's just go home. 29-yard touchdown. He ran for 133 yards. Titans win at 30-24. But again, drama afterwards. Vrabel wanted a handshake. Harbaugh's like, nah, man, we good. Wow. Okay, I don't know where to start, at the beginning or the end. But let's start at the end. Okay, let's start at the end.
Okay.
With Derrick Henry, Rob.
Yep.
Look, he's been a workhorse for that squad for a couple years now. We saw what he did in the playoffs to get him past the Ravens. But to give the ball to him in overtime, that's got to be a nice feeling.
This felt like an old school battle, right? Just all about hard nose, hit him in the mouth type football. And when you run the ball 28 times for 133 yards and your receivers are not going down, they're running through tackles, scoring touchdowns, that at the end of the day is a tone setter. And the Tennessee Titans at this point right now, they set the tone. Before the game, they were setting the tone. They were calling them out. You saw them on the logo. Right. You saw the head coaches getting after it. You saw it after the game. So, look, Tennessee Titans right now, they're winning that battle. Last year in the playoffs, over 200 yards from Derrick Henry on the ground, throwing the football for jump passes for touchdowns in the playoff game. So you better believe the Ravens, it's a little bit in their head right now, like Tennessee's got our number.
You know, it's a great asset to have on your squad, Tim, in terms of a player like Henry. But the thing is, it's not just hand the ball left, hand the ball right. You saw some very smart play calling in this game from Tennessee.
I think the job Arthur Smith, offensive coordinator for the Titans, the job he is doing, I think is probably is going way too unnoticed. I mean, when you face the Ravens, it's a tough team to play defensively. Watch what they do with Batson, a wide receiver. He's going to chip on Yannick Ngakoue, and then what that does is a design play, basically expecting the blitz. This is a 3rd and 11. You throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage, and it's a first down. Then down in the red zone, they run 4 strong to the left. They're going to chip out again with Jonnu Smith. Watch what that does to Marcus Peters. Oh, okay, he's blocking. My attention's off of him, as well as every other zone defender underneath. It's a 2nd down completion for about 2 yards that gets a first down. They later score. Then when you got to have it on a 2-point play, you don't think of them as a zone read team, but they can do it, and it's a walk-in score for Ryan Tannehill. I think the job that he did, designing plays, dialing them up at the right time, as evidenced by the 2-point play, he deserves a lot of credit. And I think a lot of people, maybe because it's not this high-flying offense typically that you see, other places, it doesn't look like Kansas City. It doesn't look like that. But it is so effective. It is well designed. It is well thought out. And it's been well executed by this football team.
Look, I have to admit, I'm an NFL fan that loves the drama as much as the outcome, so I need to go back to the trash talking going on. It started at the beginning of the game, Tim, and then we don't have the coaches shaking hands. What did you make of what you saw between these two squads?
Well, I was surprised. I thought that, the Titans were on the logo kind of before the game, doing who knows what.
Right.
And, it was surprising to see a head coach walk out there and kind of, be involved in some type of confrontation about what was happening pregame. And it didn't look like Mike Vrabel and Harbaugh, enjoyed their conversation pregame. But I will just say this. It's silly to me to not shake hands after a football game. That to me, if you're a head coach, regardless of what happens, I just don't think that is something that should happen. So that was, for me, honestly, that's disappointing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think at the end you should kind of bury the hatchet there and move on from it. Harbaugh, it'd be interesting to see if the Ravens would have won if he would have shook his hand. That would have been, you know what I'm saying? If it went the other way, which it could have, it would have been interesting to see the end of that one.
All right, you know what I want now, right? A rematch in the playoffs.
That's
exactly
right.
I want that drama to keep going. All right, guys, before we let you out of here, Tim, let me get some of your final thoughts on what you saw on this particular Sunday.
Well, listen, we need to give Sean Payton credit. He's ahead of the curve on Taysom Hill, plain and simple. A lot of people like Taysom Hill's ability, and a lot of, look, we want to give credit to the Colts for causing a turnover on special teams, causing a turnover late in the game. There is elements that if you are, a Super Bowl aspiring team like the Packers are, some of those mistakes, are also on you, just in terms of ball security and in terms of how you protect it to give yourself a chance to win.
Yeah, big comeback, though, for the Colts, down 14 to get to 7-3. Clearly a good outcome for them and their fans. Dan Graziano, new on SportsCenter, caught with Jonathan Taylor after the game.
Here with Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, you guys are down 14 points at the half. You come back and win in overtime. What was said by the coaches to you guys at halftime?
Really, one of the biggest things was we've been down here before. We've been in this situation before. We knew we had to do. We had to come out. We had to come out strong. Offense, defense, special teams. We got to make the plays that we know we can make.
We've been told you don't know from one week to the next which running back's going to have the big game. What was the key for you getting going today for 90 yards?
One of the biggest things was when we got the opportunities, we had to take it. I mean, this is the team, and you're going against a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. You got to make sure you capitalize on the opportunities to keep him off of the field.
What do you say about your defense? Came this close to holding the Packers scoreless in the second half until right there at the very end.
I think it's a testament to the players that we have, the leadership. You got a guy like 53 on your team that can really juice you up and juice the entire team up. You just want to play for one another, and you know, I'm glad that it's our defense that's on my team, and I don't have to go against them.
Another big one next week. Tennessee won today. They're coming in. Battle for first place. How are you guys feeling about that?
It's hard to beat a team twice, but the way you do that is you got to go in, have a great week of practice, great week of preparation, go out there and execute.
Man, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right, you go back, you see that the Colts sort of did the same thing in back-to-back statement wins. They beat the Titans by scoring the game's final 20 points. Now they beat the Packers by scoring 20 of the game's final 23. So even though they're down, clearly a lot of belief in this squad, Tim, that when they're enough to come back against, regardless of who they're playing, in fact, two teams right now that would be playoff teams.
Yeah, well, I think that's, it's kind of one of these things where if you're a team, and you can almost sense it in that interview with Jonathan Taylor there, where it's like, look, we've kind of been in these situations. We don't lose faith. They do have a really good defense. And so, look, when you get stops, you create opportunities for your own offense. And they certainly did that and did it against, a very good offense and a good football team. I think you look at, part of what happened, too, to give them probably even a little bit more credit. There's a holding, penalty that probably doesn't impact the play, that takes away, a Jonathan Taylor touchdown that would win the football game in regulation. So, look, I think it's a really good football team with a good offensive line, an excellent defense. And if Phillip Rivers can protect the football and just kind of be the presence that they've hoped for him to be, they're a good team, and they'll be a hard out for anybody. And I think that Frank Reich's done a nice job. Even little things like the way he played Jacoby Brissett, in short yardage situations today. If something else you have to prepare for when you face them, I think they've done a nice job. And I think that, they're going to be a tough team to deal with going forward.
Well, let me ask you that, Rob, sort of piggybacking off what Tim was saying. How legitimate is this Colts squad?
No, I think they're really legitimate. When you have a defense, look, defense wins championships.
Yep.
And I like the Jacoby Brissett coming in on certain plays. We saw him more this week. Rivers coming out. It's kind of like the Drew Brees, Taysom Hill thing where he'd come in, they do some run plays. Then that just adds another defense that you have to go over during the week of, okay, if we see 7 come on the field, we got to be alert this, and that. So he was coming in on 4th and 1s and just sneaking it forward, but now we see him more often in certain run situations. So I like that. It's the change-up, and I definitely think that this team is going to be there at the end.
Yeah, 2 good comeback wins, back-to-back weeks, gets them to 7-3. Hope to get some reaction from Phillip Rivers, maybe even Aaron Rodgers coming up later here on SportsCenter. But back to Week 11 action.